Today we're going to talk about coping mechanisms, and as emotions are running very high at the moment and we all feel like we're in a crisis situation, fight, flight or freeze, where are you and how are you coping, and how can you improve how you are dealing with this crisis situation at the moment? Some people that might be in fight mode are feeling that they're really angry. They just want answers to what's going on and demanding to get answers. And it's really difficult because we haven't got all the answers at the moment. And if you're in flight mode, you might be one of those that's going out there, impulse buying, stocking up the cupboards when you don't need to. But you need to be really careful about this, because apart from the fact that you're probably having to throw out loads of fresh produce that you've bought, but you're also running up debts, and people often panic buy at times like this. Retail therapy is not a good time, and I know that people have been saying to me that online shopping now is so easy, but we are going to come out of this phase, and what you don't want to come out with it is with a load of debt and stuff like that. So try just to calm down. I'm going to be talking to you about how you can cope and the learning some coping mechanisms. And then there's some people that are in the freeze mode, and the freeze mode is really, really awful because people are actually stuck in the house. They're not doing anything. They're not taking any action to get out and do any exercise or make any changes. And they're just glued to the TV, watching the news over and over again. And the thing is, we only get one update every day, so there is no need to be watching television all day long, because the thing is, it just makes that anxiety level rise, and it's not good. And they say that on average, a person has 70,000 thoughts a day, and this can actually cause your brain to become very, very restless. And rumination is where you're just constantly churning over thoughts and anxious feelings over and over again. And this is really bad because it's really disruptive for your sleep. And as we all know, if you don't get a good night's sleep, then you're actually not very productive and you're not feeling very happy the next morning, grumpy. You might start taking it out on those loved ones at home. So we're all unique and we all need to take care of ourselves. We all know that out of over 7 billion people on this planet, that our DNA is totally unique to ourselves, and also our fingerprints. Can you believe that no one else has the same set of fingerprints? And because emotions are running really high at the moment, people are feeling more and more anxious, and anxiousness and depression go hand in hand. And if you end up feeling depressed, the last thing we want is for you to end up on medication. So I'm going to try and teach you some coping mechanisms today. And I love talking about the power of three. I did a public speaking course a while ago, which I found really, really beneficial. And they were always talking about the power of three. If you tell people three things, they can usually remember them fairly easily and expand on what each of the three topics are. So what we're going to be looking at is making a start, taking charge of yourself, and stop feeling overwhelmed with all the situation at the moment, and then put your plan into action. And the reason that we're going to do this is because number three, you will feel the rewards. You will sleep better, you'll feel more motivated, and you'll feel much more upbeat. But what does it feel like for some people that are not coping very well? Well, it really, really varies. Some people just feel an uneasy feeling. Some people feel sick, panicky, restless, sweating. Get your deodorant on if you're one of those, heart racing, and some people describe it as like a black cloud over them. But this cloud is going to move. I now feel like a weather reporter. And so the black cloud will be moving, and I'm going to bring some sunshine into your day. The other things about if you're not coping very well, you probably realise that it's affecting your focus and concentration when you are trying to get things put into place. So what we want to do is try and break this cycle so you can have better sleep patterns and just generally feeling a lot better and knowing that this time will pass, just like the weather changes. So what I'm going to do is make you realise the first little exercise is all about realising what change feels like and how it can be quite difficult to adapt, but with perseverance we can all adapt to change when we really have to. So this little exercise, it's very easy. Put your hands out in front of you as if you're going to catch a football, and then clasp your hands together in your normal way. And then have a look and see which is the top thumb. This is your lead thumb, okay? So unclasp your hands, and then when you put them back together this time, do them in the opposite way. So you've got the opposite thumb. This is my lead thumb, and this is the thumb I wouldn't normally clasp over the top. And just see how this feels really weird. So unclasp again, clasp them normally, lead thumb on the top, unclasp, clasp them back together with the opposite thumb over the top. If you do this enough times with the opposite thumb over the top, it starts to become easier. Do this a few times, practice it as often as you want, and it could actually be a trigger or your anchor for when you're feeling stressed. Realise that we are in a time of change, but we are going to adapt and we are going to stay strong. So have a little go with those thumb exercises and I hope you enjoy doing that one. So I'm also going to talk to you about some breathing techniques as well. So if you're feeling in that really panicky phase and you're struggling to even think of a plan of action and what you would like to do, then the breathing exercises are quite good. There's so many different breathing exercises out there. One that I often do when I'm doing presentations is to say, imagine a triangle and take the point in between your eyebrows as the top of the triangle, and each nostril at the bottom, the base of the triangle. And you might want to close your eyes doing this one because it's actually easier to visualise the triangle if your eyes are closed. So how you do this, you say that you breathe in for the top of the triangle, out for the left nostril, over to the right, and with each breath in and out, in and out, you simply follow that triangle round. This is a really good one to practice. You can do it for as long as you want, a minute, 2 minutes or longer. It's quite nice actually to put some music on in the background. And once you've mastered that, some people actually say they can visualise like a triangle in their mind behind the third eye. When you've mastered that, you can then start to expand the triangle. Take it from one ear over to the next, back up to the top, one ear, over to the next and up to the next. So each section of the triangle is a breath in, out, in, out. Then if you want to get really good with it, you can actually go in the opposite direction. Swap it round. What this actually does is take your mind off thinking about anything that is upsetting you or causing you any stress in your day. And the other breathing technique, which is a very popular one, and a lot of these techniques are often used by paramedics and police and things like that when they go to somebody in a situation where they need calming down. It could be the scene of an accident or anything. And this breathing technique is just to slow the breathing down and to slow the heart rate down and just to calm yourself down. So you can choose how many numbers you want it to be. Usually 4 is a good number, so you breathe in for 4, hold it, and then breathe out for 4. Whichever way suits you, you might want to go. Whichever suits you. Okay, so back to making a start on your plan. I often work my plan. I do a general plan over the 7 days and say, right, okay, that'll be the day for shopping, that's the day for washing, that's the day for putting away. And then I will structure each day as I get up on a morning and I think, right, what am I going to do today? And we don't have to be perfectionists with this. Just do your best. If if you're going to say to yourself, right, today I'm going to go and clean that cupboard out. If you don't totally get it done or it isn't quite as tidy as you wanted it to be, don't worry, don't beat yourself up about it. This is all about improving, it's not about perfection. Okay, so my plan for today is that I'm going to go for a run and then I'm going to cook a really lovely meal and I'm going to take a bit more care and attention over what it is I'm eating today, because I know one of the things that a lot of people are struggling with, and myself included, that because we feel that we're in strange times at the moment, all of our usual routines and everything go out of the window. So we find that we're probably eating more food. When you're working from home, it's difficult. You keep popping through, oh, I'll have a cup of coffee, let's have a look in the fridge, are there any biscuits, what can I have to eat? Or you might be sort of watching more TV and just laying around when normally you'd be far more active. So you just need to be really, really careful that these habits don't get too deep rooted. And the last thing we want is for us all to come out the other end of this and we've all got to join Weight Watchers or something like that. So we need to try and keep as many good routines as possible and learning some really, really good coping mechanisms. And we need to learn some new behaviours that leaves us feeling good, and we don't want to be feeling unrewarded at the end of the day. So putting in that little bit of effort now to do these things and make a plan, so then make a start on it and put it into action. What are you going to do? So I'm going for my run this afternoon, and I'm certainly no athlete, but I have done quite a few little runs for charity recently over the last couple of years, and I'm a plodder. A bit like the hare and the tortoise. I'm the tortoise, but I still get to the finishing line. I did a 20-mile run for charity recently and I felt amazing. Not only did I do something for somebody else, raising money for male suicide, which is something that's very close to my heart. I have some dear friends that unfortunately have lost their lives to this, and it made me feel really good doing something for somebody else. So when I go out for my little run this afternoon, I'm going to be spending some time practicing some active mindfulness, thinking about how we can help each other and what we can do to help people that are struggling. So the coping mechanisms that I would like to say to you are, make sure that you, on an evening before you go to bed, switch off that telly a bit earlier, or if you feel that you really want to keep watching telly, don't watch all those dramas and CSI and violent, awful things, because you're going to go to bed with really bad thoughts in your mind, and when you do, you're not going to sleep properly. And we've got enough to deal with at the moment without adding to things with, adding, raising our anxiety levels by watching stuff on television that isn't actually going to do us any good. And laughter is so good. So maybe stick on a comedy program or something. There's loads of those old ones that they're bringing back. We all love Faulty Towers, The Two Ronnies, porridge. There's loads of them out there. So, maybe have a look at a bit of something that is going to make you laugh and feel better, because you'll go to bed feeling happier rather than ending the day watching something that's a high drama that's going to upset you. Or don't end the day on Sky News or BBC News on the latest doom and gloom that seems to be out there. So go to bed after having a little bit of time watching something cheerful. And just remember, you are unique. So take care of yourself. And if you like this channel and you'd like to see more, don't forget to subscribe and click like. Before I go, I just want to tell you a really funny story. One of my friends is a key worker. She's actually a district nurse, and she went round to look after an old gentleman in one of the nursing homes recently. She had to call and make a visit on him. Anyway, it was quite hot in the nursing home, so she took a cardigan off, popped it on the back of a chair, and she did whatever test she had to do looking after the old gentleman, and off she went and forgot her cardigan. So the next morning she thought, well, I'll pop back and go and get my cardigan. And when she went in, they were all having breakfast in the nursing home, and the little old gentleman she'd been to see the day before was sat at the breakfast table wearing her cardigan. She said this really made her laugh, and you'll be happy to know she didn't take the cardigan off him. She just carried on and got on with the day. But she said she came out and she thought, oh, bless. So even in these awful times, it's still okay to laugh and enjoy yourself, because this will all pass. And when we come out of it the other end, we want to come out and be okay. So just remember and think about some of these coping mechanisms, and I hope that I've helped you today. So enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll be back very soon with some more sessions on breathing techniques and mindfulness.